Let's have a closer look onto the world of influencer marketing, a business that is still growing up. The company we will now hear about says today there is a very one-dimensional way of analyzing and clustering influencers, and this company has big plans for that and a plan to optimize that case. I'm looking forward to the talk with Sven Niemann, the CEO of EQOLOT. Hello, Sven, are you there?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, Sven, good to have you here. Where are you right now?
In Berlin.
In Berlin. So, greetings from Cologne, and these are your 18 minutes. Let's go.
Thank you very much. As mentioned, today we will talk about influencer marketing, but more detailed about one part of influencer marketing, which is really important, or will be even more important in the future. And for this reason, we came up with the 5-cluster influencer marketing KPI framework. And I will now, during the next minutes, guide you through 5 dimensions of influencer KPIs. And you're happily invited to have more discussions about it in our virtual cafe, in our EQOLOT show floor. But let's have a look on this ocean. And this ocean is a picture for influencer marketing. It's the base plate to reach out to discover new grounds. And we have many, many opportunities. We just heard the talk about e-commerce, but there are even new islands to discover. We had some investment possibilities in health tech, I think. So there are really, really many fruitful opportunities and new islands. But, and this is also part of the truth, and maybe some of you already experienced it, it can be stormy, it can be hard to navigate, and it's easy to get lost in the endless wides. We have KPIs over KPIs. We have KPIs that are visible. We have sometimes KPIs that are not visible, and these are popping up in threads. And we all have to take care within the influencer marketing industry that we are using the right ones. And while navigating on this ocean for more than 8 years, we have developed our own KPI framework to sail these seas and to not just discover, but also discover new worlds safely and most efficiently. And this brings us to the KPI framework we will see right now. But first, the question, where does it come from? It comes from 8 years of experience. It comes from working for more than 500 brands and agencies, handling more than 80,000 collaborations, and really opt-in data directly gathered from the influencers of our Europe's largest opt-in network. And this is ending up in this 5-cluster KPI framework. If we have a look on these clusters, the first thing we have to do is structuring data in today's marketing. And we're doing this, everybody of us is doing it day by day and using different clusters. And due to this fact, we also came up with some clusters of data when it comes to influencers. First one is open platform data. I will describe the different clusters in a minute. Second one are scrapable data points without any access or opt-in to a profile. Then we have personal contact data, performance data, and last but not least, industry data, which could also help us to understand how influencer marketing in certain areas works most efficiently. If we have a look on cluster 1, that's quite easy. On the left-hand side, you see profiles as you know them. We have Instagram, we have YouTube, we have TikTok in here, and every platform is offering cross-reach data. They are differently structured, and if it comes to comparability, we probably have the first issues, but all of them are offering somehow data about gross reach. And this is first of all helping us to value the influencer size. Moreover, as you see, we get a first impression of the influencers themselves. So we know what are they doing, what is their content like, what they are talking, blogging, or snapping about. So we can get a first impression about the brand fit of an influencer. Moreover, we also have the self-description here. What's also good is we need no tools. There's no need for any technology except maybe of the app itself, but we can easily access this kind of data, and we get a first impression, but also not more. So if we have a look on how to get deeper into it, we most of the times are using tools, and these tools are scraping influencer data on different ways, but in the end, they are offering all somehow the same data points. First one is follower structure, quite easy, age, gender, and many more, a little bit depending on the network. Then we have social demographics. Then we have an engagement rate. Also always good to have a first impression about, is this one active? Is it a good influencer? Reading through the internet, you will see everybody is talking about engagement rate. Then we have quality scorings, really detailed calculations about what kind of quality an influencer has based on his social demographics, engagement rates, and follower structure. And then last but not least, pricing. But, and this is where we have to point on, we have to understand what data we get, and we have to understand where it comes from before using this data to build up any valuation on it. Because most of all these data providers have no connected influencer profiles. What does it mean? So nobody has real access to the backlog, the back office of an influencer profile. So everything what is there is scraped, somehow analyzed. Let's have a look on the different things. So if I look on a profile from the outside, the follower structure, yes, okay, that's possible. Social demographics, first question mark. How are people finding out about social demographics? Because obviously it's not visible through like obvious profile data. So there are many calculations. There's some intelligence, business intelligence behind, but let's keep the check mark here for a minute. Now, coming to the point, engagement rate. Everybody who's handling influencer marketing is speaking, and also us, we are speaking about engagement rates. But what is it? An engagement rate, if you calculate it, it's based on the engagement on a posting in relation to the gross follower amount. But this doesn't make sense at all, because obviously not every follower is seeing a posting. So what we have here is not an engagement rate, it's a part of an engaging community. And this is, first of all, giving us no impressions about the performance of postings, about the quality of contents, because as we all know, there are algorithms out there. There are many things changing day by day, and having a look on the gross engagement rate doesn't make sense at all. Let's make an example. Let's have a look on Instagram. There's an engagement rate. How's it calculated? It's calculated based on feed postings. And we all know it's different to have stories and feed postings. But everybody is still talking about an engagement rate based on feed posts. I think this is where we have to stop and where we have to go deeper. Quality scoring based on these numbers, which are not valuable in their deep, also is not helpful. It's maybe a quality indication. It's helping to filter in the first place, but it's not helping to value an influencer. And last but not least, pricing. There's no sustainable pricing base based on follower structures, based on gross reach. Except here, we have to accept content production, because you see like the quality of the content. If you like it, pay for it, that's fine. And the truth is that we don't that we shouldn't use gross reach numbers anymore, because we don't have access to any data. We should came up with a pricing calculation which really helps. So calculating any valuations of an influencer based on this kind of data without having an opt-in to a profile or an opt-in profile, it's at least questionable, and we should stop doing this within our industry. Cluster 3, also quite important, because the next question would be, okay, if I have to get an opt-in, if I get to have like how data access, I have to communicate with an influencer. And there are openly accessible contact data, maybe from a bio, from an imprint, from whatever. And what's happening there is that your message is delivered directly with thousands of others, emails, chats, DMs, to an influencer. So what does it really mean to have personal contact data? It's having a direct email address. Most of our creators have 2 of them. It's meaning to have a real postal address, and one word here, send flowers maybe, nice ones, but not products without asking the influencers. And then we have a phone number, because the phone or the smartphone is the mostly used communication tool. So if you are connected with an influencer via WhatsApp, via whatever, it really helps you to build up a relationship, because in the end, the possibility to get in touch with an influencer is the most valuable, because it's enabling you to building up a relation. But coming back to this data point, as we all saw, we want to choose the right influencers. So we need somehow a metric or clustering for performance data, because all of us want to pay or willing to pay maybe for influencers, but we have to make sure that we have a good base, a good performance base to pay. So what do we have? We have the gross reach, cluster 1 and 2, already mentioned. Follower gross engagement rate really helps. Then coming to the next point, net reach. What does net reach mean? The net reach simply means it's an average or a median of the past organic performance, measured mostly in impressions, maybe views. You can also do it in engagements with a net engagement rate. This gives you a real indication how many of the reach people are really interacting with your content. And if you have a look abroad to the USA, you will see that everybody there is already using the net engagement rate. So we are a little bit behind here. And last but not least, the most valuable one is the net reach paid. What does this mean? Obviously, we have a difference between paid and organic postings. So paid means, in this case, sponsored, so with a product in it. And we should have a look how paid articles or sponsored articles are running for this profile, because sometimes there's a huge gap between normal organic postings and sponsored postings. So if you now recognize, okay, I have a problem when calculating my while calculating my influencer values, it's simply because of the reason that most of you are negotiating based on an influencer claim. Influencer says, I want X, Y, Z, and then we start negotiating, arguing, and so on and so forth. Second one, also, most of you will know it's a gross cost per mil, so we are paying per 1,000 followers, subscribers, whatsoever. Or even harder, we are using a somehow calculated earned media value, which is also not helping us at all. But the truth is, most of the influencers are just reaching out to 30% of their gross reach with their content. What means all the mentioned bases for pricing are not helping us at all. So my point here, and also for you, it's quite simple because I will show you in a second. working with influencers needs a clearly defined pricing formula. And you can do this by your own. So what is the advantage? If you have a clear pricing, this enables you to compare influencer marketing to other media channels because it's comparable and sometimes or most of the times also even more efficient as the classic ones. So first of all, you have to handle buyouts and content production separately. Everybody who is bundling influencer payments with buyouts and content production is doing like an transparent way of pricing. Second one, price the influencer on a realistic net CPM. What does it mean? You do probably know how much your normal CPM or CPC is, and then use this in comparison to the influencer channel and using this number to price the influencer because it's simple and possible. And last but not least, define punish and reward coefficients. I will come back to this one in a second. So how could your pricing formula look like? First of all, content production. It's like a base price. How do we find a value here? Ask yourself, what is the value, so the valuation for maybe a professional photographer? If I want to buy out and use it for my website, then pay more. And if it's just to have reach and content doesn't matter that much, maybe pay less. Then we have a performance parameter. As mentioned, the KPI, you're targeting, views, clicks, whatever, and then using punish and reward coefficients, using a scale between 0.5 and 1.5 to reflect your preferences. To give you an example here, we can use, for example, a CI fit or something. And in the end, maybe calculate it through for some influencers and then having in mind that the price has to fit for both sides. And if this formula works for you, you have sustainable pricing for your influencer marketing collaborations. Last but not least is cluster 5. And this is more or less a bonus, and this is also showing where the industry is heading. If you are able to access and analyze industry data, you are able to reduce your misspendings. We all saw during the last months that we have to move, that we have to adapt quickly in new surroundings. And if you have data about, in comparison to other brands in your industry, data of influencers addressing your target group, profit from best cases and learnings, and also from past performance of influencers, you can really adapt quickly and target new target groups, new audiences, step into influencer marketing at all.
Sebastian, time flies. We only have 20 seconds left. I'm so sorry for disturbing you. Maybe a short closing. So sorry.
No, it's perfect. I'm finished.
Oh, and we say sorry again because we renamed you. For sure, your name is not Sven Niemann, it's Sebastian Niemann.
No worries. Maybe I will switch to Sven later on.
We will have a drink and that goes on the DMEXCO for giving me the wrong name. So thank you very much for being part. Thank you for the insights and all the best to you. Bye-bye, Sebastian.
Thank you. Bye.